My little light coming in from the side does not look good. Turn that off. It's the side that the sunlight's coming from anyway. Oh, that balances. And it's a bit creepy. Nice. I'm actually going to shut the window because the sunlight is kind of ruining the atmosphere. There we go. Oh, that's better. Hello. Hello. I haven't really finished setting up yet. I know. The yellow face. Hey. Oh, the gang's all here. Awesome. It's better. Yeah, it's better without that other light, isn't it? I know. It's a hideous punishment. Oh, light turned on by itself. That's spooky and exciting. Get into that. It's I bought this. I had to get a new phone charger. So in the shop, they were selling these things. It looks like a friggin' pregnancy test. But you plug it into your computer and it won't do it because it's not plugged in, but it's just a USB thing. The guy who sold it to me says he uses it as a light when he's staying in motels or something to read by, which is pretty good, but I can't actually make it face me. I think it's spookier without the secondary light anyway. But I am going to leave it plugged in case it surprises us and scares us like before. I mean, I wasn't scared, but you guys probably were. So yes, today we are doing the Mask of the Red Death. Once I find it on my phone. We were going to do the white people, and I still want to do that. Do you know what we could do? The Mask of the Yellow Death, the Mask of the Red Death, the white people, and the yellow sign, like the king in yellow. We could have a color theme. We've already done the yellow wallpaper. Fuck. Yeah, the shadows are better. They're much more thematically exciting. So I voted today. Fairly pleased about that. I followed my heart and my instincts and I went with New Conservative. Can't even pretend to say that. I did not vote New Conservative. I voted Green. Which in my country is not a throwaway vote at the moment. Long may it continue. Hello. Oh, there's like 8 people here. That's crazy. Never had this many people. I did do a poll about whether it was appropriate for me to read this or not. Because, one of the few lucky countries. I am crazy. That's not really disputed at this point. I'm happy we're going back to Poe, actually. I'm pretty pleased about that. So, Mask of the Red Death, published 1842. It was a time. Still working out germ theory. People have kind of speculated about what the Red Death actually was. It doesn't matter what the actual disease was. I haven't done any research. I'm just going from like half remembered things I may have read 100 years ago at university. So don't take anything I say as gospel. I think we're pretty much all here, you know. I don't think we're going to get more people. Oh, well, what do I usually do before a stream and then I forget to do it and I have to do it in the middle? It's not taking an antihistamine because I've done that. Getting a drink? It's getting a drink. Find out in 6 hours if the Nobel Committee will interfere in our elections. Why would they interfere in our elections? I don't know about that. Go for a wee. Yep, and I'll make you guys sit and wait while I do it. Oh yeah, I should tweet that we're actually going to start. Aha! Okay, so Evelyn helped me get some groceries home, including NZ Natural Sparkling Lime Water. They might be giving Jacinda a peace prize. Not before the election. That's not right. I mean, I agree that she deserves one, but fucking hell. I mean, she's done drone strikes on fewer people than certain recipients of the Peace Prize. But yeah, they do that, it's out of my hands. I have never kept peace in my life. I have. I'll tweet. We are about to start. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, I hated that. I went to tweet, we're starting now under the link to this, and the little like YouTube thing started auto playing, and it was playing me live as I was looking at me live. It was really freaky. I don't like it. Okay. Got a drink. Go. No, don't go back. Shake the phone to the. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but I did my eyes red. And the color is absolutely creeping up. Because I didn't put anything on the top lid to stop that. Fuck it, this isn't a makeup vlog. Thank you. I thought about reading it all from behind a mask, but that's a bit much. Oh, 12 people. Okay, good. I was right to wait. And you were right to tell me to tweet. Excellent. We were all right. Mascara of the Red Death. Ooh. Good name for a red mascara. Although why you want a red mascara, I'm not sure. Oh, I wish we could get a cat inside. Fitz has been going in and out. Albert Einstein. His name was Albert Einstein Poe. Einstein was actually his stepfather's surname. Okay, we got 13 people. Turns out doing topical readings gets more people, or maybe it's just the time of day. Don't know. But welcome, everybody. We've been bullshitting for 10 minutes, so it is time to crack into it. The Masque of the Red Death by Edgar Allan Poe, published 1842. And we got one more. Crikey. The Red Death had long devastated the country. No pestilence had ever been so fatal or so hideous. Blood was its avatar and its seal, the madness and the horror of blood. There were sharp pains and sudden dizziness, and then profuse bleeding at the pores with dissolution. The scarlet stains upon the body, and especially upon the face of the victim, were the pest ban which shut him out from the aid and from the sympathy of his fellow man. And the whole seizure, progress, and termination of the disease were incidents of half an hour. But Prince Prospero was happy and dauntless and sagacious. Sagacious? He's the sage. I think it should be a J. I don't know. When his dominions were half depopulated, he summoned to his presence 1,000 hale and light-hearted friends from among the knights and dames of his court, and with these retired to the deep seclusion of one of his crenellated abbeys. This was an extensive and magnificent structure, the creation of the prince's own eccentric yet august taste. Sagacious? Are you sure? Sagacious. Yeah, that makes sense. What accent? I'm flattening out my accent. I'm flattening out my accent a bit so that, like, non-Kiwis can follow it. I've noticed I do that on YouTube. Auckland. Why? What accent do you think I'm doing? I could go full New Zealand, like, oh god, I can't. No, it'll just slide into Australian. Americans say Auckland. 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 It's Auckland. Well, I mean, I could read it in a Aussies say Ireland. What? This is getting really confusing for me. I'm just going to start again in an accent that I'm comfortable with. The Red Death had long devastated the country. No pestilence had ever been so fatal or so hideous. Blood was its avatar and its soul. The madness and the horror of blood. That bit always reminds me of Garth Marenghi. Blood. 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 And bits of sick. Oh, okay, hang on. I can't do a broad New Zealand accent on purpose. I can only do it when I'm among, like, with my cousins. But anyway, 50 bad science fiction films. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, I'm going to read the story, and I'm going to be overthinking my voice now. The Office? What, like British? I don't get it. Okay, blah blah blah. The Red Death. It sucks. Everyone's fucked up. But Prince Prospero was happy and dauntless and sagacious. When his dominions were half depopulated, he summoned to his presence 1,000 hale and light-hearted friends from among the knights and dames of his court, and with these retired to the deep seclusion of one of his crenellated abbeys. Daniel's fine. He's just on an irony level that no one else is on for some reason. He's okay. This was an extensive and magnificent structure, the creation of the prince's own eccentric yet august taste. A strong and lofty wall girdled it in. This wall had gates of iron. The courtiers, having entered, brought furnaces and massy hammers and welded the bolts. They resolved to leave means neither of ingress nor egress to the sudden impulses of despair or of frenzy from within. The abbey was amply provisioned. With such precautions, the courtiers might bid defiance to contagion. The external world could take care of itself. In the meantime, it was folly to grieve or to think. The prince had provided all the appliances of pleasure. Oh, I've got a few appliances of pleasure. There were buffoons, there were improvisatori, there were ballet dancers, there were musicians, there was beauty, there was wine. All these and security were within. Without was the Red Death. It was towards the close of the 5th or 6th month of his seclusion that the Prince Prospero entertained his 1,000 friends at a masked ball of the most unusual magnificence. It was a voluptuous scene, that masquerade. But first, let me tell of the rooms in which it was held. There were 7, an imperial suite. In many palaces, however, such suites form a long and straight vista, while the folding doors slide back nearly to the walls on either hand, so that the view of the whole extent is scarcely impeded. Here the case was very different, as might have been expected from the Duke's love of the bizarre. He's a prince and a duke, it's fine. The apartments were so irregularly disposed that the vision embraced but little more than one at a time. There was a sharp turn at the right and left in the middle of each wall. A tall and narrow Gothic window looked out upon a closed corridor, of which pursued the windings of the suite. These windows were of stained glass, whose colour varied in accordance with the prevailing hue of the decorations of the chamber into which it opened. That at the eastern extremity was hung, for example, in blue, and vividly blue were its windows. Bizarre. Like, what a bizarre plague this is. Horror. Oh, I'm going to get gone off this sparkling water. The second chamber was purple in its ornaments and tapestries, and here the panes were purple. The third was green throughout, and so were the casements. The fourth was furnished and lighted with orange, the fifth with white, the sixth with violet. The 7th apartment was closely shrouded in black velvet tapestries that hung all over the ceiling and down the walls, falling in heavy folds upon a carpet of the same material and hue. But in this chamber only the colour of the windows failed to correspond with the decorations. The panes were scarlet, a deep blood colour. Blood. Bloody Gothic decorations. I love the idea of every room having its own colour scheme, though. That's pretty cool. But not like leaving peasants to die or anything. That sucks. Now, in no one of any of the 7 apartments was there any lamp or candelabrum, amid the profusion of golden ornaments that lay scattered to and fro and depended from the roof. There was no light of any kind emanating from lamp or candle within the suite of chambers. But in the corridors that followed the suite, there stood opposite each window a heavy tripod, bearing a brazier of fire that projected its rays through the tinted glass and so glaringly lit the room. and thus produced a multitude of gaudy and fantastic appearances. Just get LEDs, man. But in the western or back chamber, the effect of the firelight that streamed upon the dark hangings through the blood-tinted panes was ghastly in the extreme, and produced so wild a look upon the countenances of those who entered, that there were few of the company bold enough to set foot within its precincts at all. Poor Prince Prospero. He's finding out that his courtiers are not only incredibly selfish, but they're total wusses as well. Oh, I went into a room and there was like all red light. Oh. Blood. 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 I know what's wrong. The laptop's not the right height. Sorry to everyone. There. That's more comfortable. I'm not having to lean down as much. It was within this apartment also that there stood against the western wall a gigantic clock of ebony. Its pendulum swung to and fro with a dull, heavy, monotonous clang, and when the minute hand made the circuit of the face, and the hour was to be stricken, there came from the brazen lungs of the clock a sound which was clear and loud and deep and exceedingly musical, but of so peculiar a note and emphasis that at each lapse of an hour the musicians of the orchestra were constrained to pause momentarily in their performance to hearken to the sound, and thus the waltzes perforce ceased their evolutions, and there was a brief disconcert of the whole gay company. And while the chimes of the clock yet rang, it was observed that the giddiest grew pale, and the more aged and sedate passed their hands over their brows, as if in confused reverie or meditation. Yeah. The clock is Jesus, and the red room is heaven. Clock heaven. It's different from human heaven. To us, it kind of sucks. Like, honestly. Yeah. Oh, I love hanging out with Prince Prospero. He's just so selfish. But I hate that clock. He's got that rowdy fucking clock. And he makes the music stop every time it chimes the hour. And it's like, dude, you can't pause your party every hour on the hour. And he's like, fuck you, go outside into the Red Death. And I'm like, actually, it's a kind of a genius idea. It gives people a second to chat. Sorry, I'm writing Mask of the Red Death fanfiction. But when the echoes had fully ceased, a light laughter at once pervaded the assembly. The musicians looked at each other and smiled, as if at their own nervousness and folly, and made whispering vows, each